Welcome to every fan's greatest fears heading into the 2024 NFL season. I'm Brandon Perna, and today I wanted to do what our government does. Prey on your fear for my continued success.
I'm Joe Rogan, and this is Fear Factor.
Fear Factor.
Let's dive into what is scaring the piss out of every NFL fan base as we brace for football in the year 2024, starting with the Cowboys. Their biggest fear? Jerry Jones passing his annual physical with flying colors. And of course, the playoffs. The Giants, Daniel Jones getting hurt again. But also Daniel Jones staying healthy all season long. The Commanders' greatest fear? That Dan Quinn is just Ron Rivera in a bald cap, and that changing the name of FedEx Field to Northwest whatever doesn't uncurse it. If that field is cursed, Jaden Daniels is cursed. The Eagles' greatest fear? Starting the season 10-1 and Nick Sirianni not being able to stop himself from yelling, "Hey, I don't hear anymore! Chiefs fans, which leads to Philly fans realizing Nick's the problem, not the coordinators, and of course the Chiefs three-peating. They fear that. What's the Bills' greatest fear? Losing in the playoffs to the Chiefs again? But this time it's because Sean McDermott accidentally grabs his jihad play calling sheet instead of his normal one. And of course, the Chiefs three-peating. Huge fear. What's the Dolphins' greatest fear? Mike McDaniel realizes there's actually way more money in becoming a Miami drug lord than in coaching. Or that in 4 years we'll all be saying, maybe Brian Flores was right about Tua all along. Also, the weather in the month of January. Also, the Chiefs three-peating. What's the Patriots' greatest fear? Realizing truly what football life is like without Tom and Bill come, say, November. Something they haven't known for 24 years. Jacoby Brissett's sacrificial body only holding up for 1 week, leading to Drake May getting thrown to the Wolves week 2, and of course the Chiefs three-peating because their GOAT argument gets a lot stronger if Mahomes does something Brady never could. The Jets' greatest fear? Starting the season with Aaron Rodgers on Monday Night Football against a team with Leonard Floyd as their edge rusher. Hey, at least you get through your biggest fear on the first offensive drive of the season, right, Jets fans? Your second biggest fear should be this guy.
I think that you have beautiful ears. They fit very nicely, so I would say it'd be an erotic.
Also, Hassan Reddick never playing a single down for the Jets. That's gotta be starting to scare you a little bit, right, New York? Hey, and if you're enjoying all of the cursed emblems here, then I have great news for you. Over at benchwarmershop.com, my coffee company website, well, all of my shirts are now there. We just rebranded the entire website, benchwarmershop.com. You know where to get them. Fear of the Falcons, that they feel like they're one top 10 draft pick away from being a legit contender. The Saints' biggest fear? Dennis Allen returning as their head coach. Oh, fuck, sorry guys. Dennis Allen returns as your head coach in 2025. Panthers, your fear? CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and now Caleb Williams, all are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and Bryce Young is just the MVP of the UFL. And David Tepper. Everyone is just kind of scared of David Tepper. Buccaneers, no one counting out Baker Mayfield. Baker needs to be counted out because God knows when there are expectations, nothing good is going to happen for him. The Colts' biggest fear? Anthony Richardson taking a beating every time he runs the football and never seeing him reach his full athletic potential, and he retires even more quickly than Andrew Luck. Indy, go ahead and just get a week 1 win. Let's just start there. You're on an 0-9-1 count for week 1 dating back to 2014. The Jaguars' biggest fear? Having a good record halfway through the season? Honestly, I think the Jags are better off when they've got a hole to climb out of. Maybe a little worried, I think Jags fans are, if Aiden Hutchinson wins Defensive Player of the Year, which is possible. Texans fans' greatest fear? Is fear a factor? I sense very little fear here. It's gotta be the sophomore slump for CJ Stroud. Really, that's it, I think. Tennessee Titans fans? Fear? Will Levis finishes what he started last year and ends 2024 as the most sacked QB in the NFL, ultimately becoming more famous for his Mayo commercials than being the Titans quarterback.
Mayotivations with Will Levis.
49ers. getting back to the Super Bowl just to lose to the Chiefs for a third time, thus letting every NFL fan on earth down, failing to stop those Chiefs from three-peating. Also, Trump losing the election, which would mean Nick Bosa wouldn't be available to the team in January. The Seahawks' greatest fear? Russell Wilson finds his way back to Seattle. The Seahawks executed the greatest trade fleecing in 20 years, and you've got 0 playoff wins to show for it. And Pete Carroll being the actual gum that held the Seahawks together. The offensive line, Ryan Grubb, I don't know, there's a lot of change there. There's a lot of change in Seattle. Cardinals fans' greatest fear? Kyler Murray quits football? No, not to play baseball. To pursue his other dream, acting. How can he say no to acting when he's been cast in a Game of Thrones spinoff? That's right, a Lannister always pays their debts. And yes, he's been cast to portray a young Tyrion Lannister. I'm sorry, Cardinals fans. That's the last one for a while, I promise. Your real fear? It's that Malik Neighbors turns out to be better than Marvin Harrison Jr. The Rams? That your defense is going to suck without Aaron Donald? Steelers fans? That when Mike Tomlin benches Russell Wilson for Justin Fields, there's going to be absolutely no change in offensive production. And I'm also starting to think Steelers fans are in fear of another winning season and a wild card spot. You guys are spoiled, you know that? The Ravens' greatest fear. Lamar's continued battle with IBS, Derrick Henry's age finally catching up to him, something defenders have failed to do when he hits the second level for 8 straight years, and knowing last season was your best chance for a Super Bowl, and you blew it. And of course, the Chiefs three-peating. The Browns' greatest fear? I don't think Browns fans fear anything. No matter how bad it gets, on any given season, they're like, you know what? We've seen worse. Baker Mayfield getting multiple playoff wins in Tampa might be a little scary, though. Bengals fans, Joe Burrow getting hurt again. And of course, the Chiefs three-peating. Vikings fans' greatest fear? That time won't speed up, and you will have to watch this entire season with J.J. McCarthy on the bench. Chicago Bears' greatest fear? That lucking into the first overall draft pick with one of the best quarterback prospects in a decade still won't be enough to solve your quarterback purgatory or get you a 4,000-yard passer. The Lions' greatest fear? Everything. Learning how to be a football fan with everyone supporting and believing in you and picking you to win the Super Bowl. Holy shit, what is happening, Detroit? I mean, Dan Campbell's out there getting national Applebee's commercial money now.
I have the 50-cent bone.
Cover your mouth. They could steal your order.
Packers fans' greatest fear? Nothing. These arrogant pricks just assume they're already zeroing in on Jordan Love's replacement. They've probably already convinced themselves that cutting all of their kickers at the end of the preseason was actually a good move. And they may be right, damn it. They may actually be right. Chiefs fans, greatest fear? Taylor Swift dumps him in January, and the NFL then actually starts suspending players for, traffic crimes. And of course, not three-peating. Raiders fans, they fear that they will have the #1 defense in the NFL and the 30th ranked offense. And of course, those Chiefs three-peating. Chargers fans, they fear that even Jim Harbaugh isn't more powerful than the Lord's curse that is chargering, and that 3 of their most important players will be on IR by week 7. And of course, those good Chiefs three-peating. And last, but certainly not least, the Broncos. We fear everything we saw from Bo Nix in the preseason was a facade because he never played against opposing teams' starting defenses. But more importantly, Russell Wilson not only gets the Steelers into the playoffs, but they win a game. And then the Chiefs fucking three-peat. And then Peyton Manning hands the Chiefs that trophy one season after we had to watch John Elway do it in the greatest betrayal since Judas! Since Judas! But God bless Bo Nix. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Fear is a factor. Please subscribe here on YouTube. You know I'm on YouTube. If we can get to 1 million subscribers today, my wife won't leave me. She measures my value by my sub count. Like any good wife should when you think about it.